everyone, my name is Jaybird and welcome back to the sad story of Emmeline Burns. Now we only have one last thing to do here, and that is look at the extra scene. I say as I die. I got some liquids with me though, but not that much. Sunlight streamed in through the open window, illuminating stray particles of dust as they danced through the air. The gilt-edged mirror on Emmeline's wall shimmered, the surface sparkling like the edge of a cut jewel. Emmeline lay on her bed, stretched out on her stomach, cat-like, kicking her legs idly back and forth in the air. Cornelia sat beside her, arms around her legs, knees under her chin, taking up rather less space than Emmeline was. Cornelia was attempting to read a book, but Emmeline kept tutting and sighing and making such a fuss Cornelia could not help but be distracted.
What are you doing, Emmy? I am supposed to be reading this.
She gestured to a thick volume on poetry lying on the bed before her, hefty enough to knock a man's teeth out.
But it is so tediously, unspeakably dull, I fear I will quite... Fuck. But it is so tediously, unspeakably dull, I fear I will go quite mad. Did Miss Warren tell you to read that? You mean Ellie? You still call her Ellie? I can call her what I please. She is under the employment of my father, and she could accept whatever name I see fit to give her. And she should accept whatever. You, my dear Emmeline, are quite the piece of work. I feel terribly sorry for Miss Warren. Do not feel sorry for her. Feel sorry for me. I am the one who has been tasked to read this drivel, though it is so boring. I would rather drive a rusty spike through my head.
Or get choked to death by my
father. Or get strangled to death by my own father.
Cornelia shifted slightly on the bed, squeamish, and held one hand to her chest. Cornelia's complexion was always pale, yet it looked even paler now, like a cadaver's. Cavaliers. Fucking hell.
Must you be so gruesome? I cannot help myself. The Gothic is very much in vogue right now. I believe that was back in the late 1790s. You're half a century too late to engage in this particular fashion trend, Emmy. Well, I wish I was reading Radcliffe instead of this nonsense. Why should I care about a leech gatherer of all people? The very notion that some people are so poor that they must gather leeches to make a living is depressing enough, without reflecting upon it in verse form. Ah, Wordsworth, is it? Wordsworth indeed, and he uses rather too many words. I cannot understand why Ellie, nay, why all of England, is so besotted with him. I wandered lonely as a cloud indeed. I don't understand why you dislike him so. I thought you liked poetry. I do like poetry, but this is not the sort of poetry I like. Could you not try to focus on the elements of this poetry you enjoy rather than lingering upon those which you despise? There is nothing about his poetry I enjoy, Nellie. I cannot stand all the moralizing about poor people. I wonder how often our genial friend Mr. Wordsworth mingled with the leech gatherers and country pastors. Ha!
Emmeline snorted in a manner that was not entirely dismissal to a horse, and slammed her collected works of William Wordsworth shut. She slammed it with such force that she very nearly sliced off her fingers. I was only able to withdraw her vulnerable digits at the very last second.
I cannot be doing with all of this nonsense, nor on such a lovely day. I would much rather experience nature with my own senses than read it within these dusty pages written by a dusty old man. But what of Miss Warren? She will scold you if you do not finish your reading.
I just cannot do her voice today. I'm sorry.
Why should I care what that old spinster thinks? She likes William Wordsworth. A lot of people like William Wordsworth. He was the poet laureate. What? Laureate. I don't know. A lot of people are awfully stupid then. You should not speak ill of him like that. He was a great man. You back up.
I gotta do it.
You would.
Okay, I gotta work myself up to it. I can't do a bunch of like my good nasally voices because mucus. Let's see.
It wasn't like it was for you, Baka. Baka. You Baka. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to do it.
You should not speak ill of him like that. He was a great man, and he died only 1 year hence. It is rather too soon to insult him. You have not even given his body a chance to cool yet.
Ooh. I'm sorry, I just can't do her voice. I'm sorry, I'm just dying.
Cold or not, I doubt he would care very much about what I think now. Being dead has a tendency to curtail one's ability to care about such things. Say what you will, but I still don't think it is appropriate. You do not think anything is appropriate, Nellie. It is a wonder you let me kiss you as I do.
Giggling mischievously, yes, whatever. Emmeline sat herself up and pressed an unexpected kiss against Cornelia's neck.
Woo! Ah!
Sorry. Ah! I just made it worse. Ah! Okay.
Ah!
There you go. Cornelia twitched, her eyelashes fluttering.
Are you a vampire, Emmy? Perhaps. I feel like it along far better with Lord Byron's verses than Mr. Wordsworth's at any rate. If only Wordsworth had written of vampires, then you might pay attention. Indeed, it would be more interesting. Not as interesting as this, however. Emmy, you will leave bruises if you kiss me like that.
Woo! She's giving her some hickeys! And yet, despite Cornelia's feeble protestations, she found herself inclining her head, giving Emmeline further access to the white landscape of skin that made up her neck, her collarbone, and the parts of her chest that were not obscured by the light pink fabric of her dress. Emmeline giggled devilishly, pressing yet another kiss against Cornelia's neck, lower down this time.
You say that, but I know you do not truly mind. I may not mind, but my mother... Ah yes, how could I forget the venerable Mrs. Linton? Mrs. Linton. If your mother caught you with bruises on your fair neck, she might grow rather suspicious. That is what I was thinking.
Though Emmeline was no longer kissing Cornelia's voice escaped from her lips in soft gasps. Rather lighter than usual, the syllables strung together with stutters. Her heart was pounding far too fast, dyeing her cheeks dark crimson. Inwardly, Cornelia scolded herself. She was just like those silly, swooning girl women in books penned by men. Pamela, in particular, sprung to mind, who fell to pieces at the sight of their lords. Her mother had not raised her to be like this, setting the fact that Emmeline was another girl aside, which was a rather important fact, but one Cornelia did not care to examine. Cornelia knew her own conduct was nothing short of shameful. She could hardly breathe, and her heart felt as though it were beating inside her mouth, and no matter how she tried, she could not gather her composure. Emmeline had a most curious effect upon her. Much like a drug, Cornelia was little better than a helpless opium addict, hardly able to function without Emmeline's kisses and caresses. Ooh, kissing and caresses. Okay. Yet Cornelia would not have changed her relationship with Emmeline for the world.
Your mother might even suspect you have been engaging in dalliances with that awful Wedgwood boy.
I don't know what dalliances is.
Wedgwood? The one and the same, unless you thought that I was referring to his father. Emmeline! Mr. Wedgwood is in his 50s. The idea is preposterous. It is not so very preposterous. We are nearing the age where we ourselves should get married, you know. It is not uncommon for girls our age to marry gentlemen in their twilight years. I would rather not. Not to Aubrey Wedgwood, and certainly not to his father. I would rather die.
Oh, you silly bitch, you don't want to die.
I am so glad to hear you say that. The feeling was quite mutual. I do not know why you had to be asked to begin with. Should my feelings not be obvious? What do you mean? Well...
Cornelia looked down at her lap, linking her fingers together.
Even though this may make me less of a woman, or at least not the woman my parents wish me to be, I cannot bring myself to care. You are the one that I love, Emmy. Your virulent hatred of Mr. Wordsworth aside, I do not want to think about getting married to a man. I do not even want to contemplate it.
Emmeline blinked for a few moments, momentarily surprised by Cornelia's sudden burst of honesty. This surprise soon wore away, however, to be replaced with a gentle smile.
I feel quite the same. I do not even care if I become an old spinster like poor Ellie. I just want to be with you no matter what.
Aw, cute. The next day... Yes?
What are you doing, Emmy? Drawing? Drawing? I thought you were supposed to be reading more of Mr. Wordsworth's poetry. I attempted to do so, but it was so very dull, and that was when I had this excellent idea!
Sorry.
Yes?
Cornelia's frown deepened, and she folded her arms. Though she did not want to question Emmeline, she did wonder, as she always did when Emmeline claimed to have struck upon an excellent idea. Just how excellent this idea really was. The last time Emmeline had been bestowed with an excellent idea. Excellent! She had hidden a slug in the pocket of the long-suffering Miss Ward's overcoat. Ew! Slugs are gross. I hate slugs. That actually reminds me of this one time. I don't even know, I barely even remember what it was, but I was we were camping, my family was camping, and there was this group of older girls, and I wanted to be with them, get into their little gang sort of thing, because I wanted, friends, and, they're like, oh yeah, you can be friends with us, but you have to pass the initiation. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Well, I didn't actually say that, I was a kid, but, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, okay, you're gonna put these banana slugs in the boys' bathroom. So I'm like, okay, sure. So we were putting banana slugs in there's always a communal bathroom and campsites and stuff. So we were putting them in the men's section, the men's bathroom of that communal area. So yeah, that's what we did, and then yeah, it was interesting. It's I don't even remember what the girls looked like. I just remember that they were older than me, and that, we wanted to be mean to boys, I guess. We hated boys. I don't know, maybe they're just a bunch of older lesbians, I'm not sure. I'm joking, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it was interesting. Anyways, hidden a slug in the pocket of the long Mrs. And the poor woman had shrieked loudly enough upon its discovery to rouse even William Wordsworth from his grave in Grasmere.
You see, I simply remembered what you told me earlier, my dear Nellie. And what was that? You told me to try and find something in Mr. Wordsworth's poems that I found interesting. And did you? Of course not. I already told you I cannot stand his works. There is one thing in this world, however, that I cherish above all else. And what is that? Why, it is beautiful women, of course.
Woo! You trying to draw beautiful women? Cornelia blinked. Where was this going exactly? Though she had been close companions with Emmeline throughout the last 14, almost 15 years, she could not profess to possess full understanding of the inner workings of the other girl's mind. Perhaps not even Emmeline herself understood such things, given she always seemed to flit from fancy to fancy, restless like a bumblebee in the spring.
I am well aware that you like beautiful women, but I fail to see how that relates to the esteemed Mr. Wordsworth. Why, Nellie, you are being awfully dense today. It is simple, self-explanatory, really. It is? Yes, I see it now. In order to truly appreciate Mr. Wordsworth's works, I should reimagine him, the poet himself, into a form more suited to my desires. That is, I should imagine his body of poetry came not from the hand of a pompous and self-obsessed old git with a big nose, but from a young and beautiful woman. Look!
Oh my god. Achievement unlocked. Read to Lillian Wordsworth. Sorry, I had to. I'm sorry if that hurt your ears. Emmeline. Beatificting her excitement. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna take a screenshot.
Whee!
Lillian Wordsworth.
Beautiful women.
Emmeline Shit. Beatific, I don't know. And in her excitement showed Cornelia one of the quick sketches she had been working on. Yeah, that looks like a quick sketch to me. You didn't fill in the eyebrows though, so I guess it is a quick sketch, even though it's colored. You don't typically color. You don't call it a sketch if it's colored, you know. Cornelia took the sketch. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking dying in this episode. I'm sorry. Cornelia took the sketch, the fur on her brow deepening as she did so. There, displayed on the white page, was a young and beautiful woman. Her hair fell about her shoulders in a manner any young romantic would surely have appreciated, and she wore a loose dress that was rather...
Why is it so short? Oh, Cornelia, it is just a fantasy. Do not trouble yourself too much with the details. And I made more sketches too.
More?
Of course. After I redesigned Mr. Wordsworth, I realized that the current landscape of British poetry could use a bit touch more feminine charm. And I took it upon myself to beautify all of the romantic poets that our country cares for so greatly. Apart from the Keats, of course. He did not live long enough to want a new design as far as I am concerned. Of course.
Cornelia flipped through Emmeline's array of worrying sketches, her left eye twitching.
Emmeline, you really do have a one-track mind.
Oh wow, really? That's it? Well, just a gender bent William Wordsworth. Okay, well, with that being said, that's gonna be it for this game. Hooray! So, if you guys enjoyed this episode of The Sad Story of Emmeline Burns and would like to see a different game, I guess, well, of course you're gonna see a different game, are excited to see a new game, then leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell, and remember, die safely. Bye-bye!